What a postseason we're having. The Colorado Avalanche are one win away from a trip to the Stanley Cup Finals, while the Tampa Bay Lightning make their series a tight one and cut it in half.
You're Locked On Fantasy Hockey, your daily podcast on fantasy hockey. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome back to the Locked On Fantasy Hockey Podcast. I'm your host, Steele Rodin, and unfortunately, my co-host, Flip Livingstone, is not able to make it for today's episode, but he will be back tomorrow in a big way with the big-time bets. You know he's always firing on all cylinders, getting the big-time bets for you guys out there. He'll be back tomorrow big time. And speaking about bets, I need to let you know about BetOnline. Today's episode is brought to you by BetOnline.net. BetOnline has you covered this season with more props, odds, and lines than ever before. BetOnline, where the game starts. Like I said off the top, thank you so much for being back with us on the Locked On Fantasy Hockey Podcast. A lot to talk about. The 3 games over the weekend. Things are getting tight out east between the Tampa Bay Lightning and the New York Rangers. And things couldn't be farther or a greater distance between the Colorado Avalanche and Edmonton Oilers. It's a big flip-flop, lopsided series from both these guys. Let's start, though, with the Tampa Bay Lightning. They come back in a big way in Game 3, down 2-0 to the New York Rangers early in the second period. Come back, score 3 goals in the third, win the game 3-2. Big game-winning goal from Andre Palat in the dying seconds, just under a minute left in the game. But what a game it was. Guys that really stuck out to me, obviously Mika Zibanejad and Chris Kreider got to be some of the guys that we got to focus on right now, scoring their 10th goal of the postseason. And Flip and I have been saying this for the last week and a half, ever since the first round, actually. Mika Zibanejad has been absolutely fantastic out there. The best player for the New York Rangers right now. And he's firing on all cylinders. And we've been hitting him with the big time bets a lot recently. So continue to look for him as well for player props with your bets. But look towards Chris Kreider as well. His 10th goal of the postseason. He did step up in the post game conference, and he said that game-winning goal for Andre Palat was his fault. He was puck watching there. Sometimes that happens, with players out there in any league or at any level. Sometimes you just lose focus and lose your man, and things get away from you. And that's a game that really got away from the New York Rangers when they were up 2-0. But I have a feeling they'll bounce back in Game 4. And I still think the Rangers win this series in 6. They just look really dominant right now. And I at this point, I believe Igor Shesterkin is the best goalie in the league. I think as of right now, it goes Shesterkin and Vasilevsky. So this series has a lot left in store. It could go 7 games, but I just think the Rangers are too hot right now and on fire and continue to keep firing away on Andre Vasilevsky. But let's head out west actually now and talk about the Colorado Avalanche and the Edmonton Oilers series. This one, to me, is getting out of hand. Colorado Avalanche are up 3-0 in the series. Last game, a 4-2 win. Mikko Rantanen scoring the empty netter. Kane gets tossed out. He gets hand for his hit on Nazem Kadri. And my take after watching that hit is I think this punishment is really, really fair. Obviously it's the postseason. You don't want to get guys out of the lineup for too long, but the punishment fits the crime and the situation that Evander Kane put himself in with that hit on Nazem Kadri. It's just a difficult position to put yourself in. He's, 8 feet away from the board. You're cross-checking, and that's exactly what the referees are looking at this entire season. You're cross-checking the guy on his numbers, sending him face first into the boards. His hands go down. I believe it's a hand injury. From what I could see from the video, his hands went really hard and in a weird angle as well into the board. So hopefully he's not out for too long. He is out for the rest of the series. And, if the Colorado Avalanche make it to the finals, which it looks like they are going to do in easy fashion, hopefully he's back and better than ever because he's been absolutely stellar this entire season and in the postseason for the Colorado Avalanche. But yeah, back to Evander Kane. I think the punishment was fair. 1-game suspension. It looks like their season's about done anyway. So if they can even squeak out a win in Game 4, which I don't think is very likely at this point, but if so, he's back for game 5 and hopefully can make a difference and not hurt his team in any other ways. Speaking about injuries, Darcy Kemper is also out of the lineup with an upper body injury. I believe he was on ice for an optional practice on Saturday. So hopefully he's back in the lineup as well. But if he's not, Pavel Francouz has been holding down the fort for the Colorado Avalanche. A shutout in game 2, a big win in game 4, in game 3 in that 4-2 win for the Colorado Avalanche. Absolutely robbed Connor McDavid on the power play, who was looking to tie up the game, midway through the third period. So he's been absolutely fantastic. But if they do make it to the finals, which it looks like they will, and, Darcy Kemper, for some reason, is not able to go, I think that's going to be a big, big problem for the Colorado Avalanche. So that is something to look forward to as well for the very near future for the Colorado Avalanche. But this series looks like it's about wrapped up at this point. You're just getting pure domination from Nathan MacKinnon, Cale Makar, Gabriel Landeskog, even the guys on their back end, Josh Manson, Eric Johnson, Bowen Byram has been huge, playing big minutes in this postseason so far. So kudos to the Colorado Avalanche and Joe Sakic for putting a fantastic team together. He's just done an absolutely fantastic job. So yeah, I think this is about wrapped up. Colorado Avalanche are probably going to sweep the series. Real quick before we move over to our big time bets, though, I got to let you guys know about our next partners here. Our next partner has a product I use literally every single day. I started taking AG1 because I wanted better gut health, more energy. I hated waking up feeling really, really tired. So I wanted to help, my immune system get more energy in the morning. I'm not really a big pill or vitamin guy. That was never my style growing up. And drinking this smoothie in the morning has been absolutely fantastic. And I wanted something that would actually taste great. So what actually is this stuff? With one delicious scoop of AG1, you're absorbing 75 high-quality vitamins, minerals, whole food source superfoods, and probiotics to help you start your day right. This special blend of ingredients supports your gut health, your nervous system, and your immune system. And Athletic Greens has over 7,000 5-star reviews. Right now, it's the time to reclaim your health and arm your immune system with convenient daily nutrition. It's just one scoop in a cup of water every single day. That's it. No need for a million different pills and supplements to look out for your health. To make it easy, Athletic Greens is going to give you a free 1-year supply of immune-supporting vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. All you have to do is visit athleticgreens.com/NHL Network to take ownership of your health and pick up the ultimate daily nutritional insurance. Thank you for making the Locked On Fantasy Hockey Podcast your first listen every day. Don't forget, we are free and available on all podcast platforms, which also includes YouTube. So if you haven't yet, please hit the subscribe and the follow button. And once you do, you'll get the latest episodes of the Locked On Fantasy Hockey Podcast as soon as they come out each and every day, Monday through Friday. Look, there's a lot of hockey left, especially in the Eastern Conference. I already said this many times in this episode. The Colorado Avalanche and the Edmonton Oilers series is pretty much wrapped up at this point. I believe Flip and I both had the Avalanche in 5 at this point, with Evander Kane out for game 4, and just the muffins that Mike Smith has let in the previous game, but a lot in the postseason. I think this is a wrap. So let's kind of stick towards the Eastern Conference Finals for a little bit. Rangers in 6 continue to keep going with Mika Zibanejad. Their top guys are Temi Panarin, Adam Fox, Igor Shesterkin for your DFS selections. You're obviously going to be paying the premium price, but it's totally worth it when you see how the way they're playing right now. It just doesn't look like they can be denied. Obviously they just lost in game 3, but that was just a mental mistake from Chris Kreider. He owned up to that after the game. He said, he was caught puck watching. He was looking at the puck. Nikita Kucherov makes an absolutely sweet feed behind the back to Andre Palat, who just sneaks it by Igor Shesterkin, who was pushing over hard from right to left. Like I said, 48 saves on the night. So he had an absolutely fantastic night. Unfortunately, couldn't get the win. But before we do get to the big time bets, I got to let you know again about our sponsors for this episode. BetOnline.net is your number one source for all your betting stats and sports info. Find all the latest sports developments, news, and odds, including this year's basketball championship matchups, the NHL Hockey Conference Finals, Major League Baseball, and of course, all the latest fighting news from MMA, UFC, and boxing. BetOnline is your continued source for all your sport wagering information, including live betting, esports, and more. So head to the website today or use your mobile device to learn more about the trends and actions. BetOnline, where the game starts. Again, thank you so much for making the Locked On Fantasy Hockey Podcast your first listen every day. Let's get down to the big time bets, where the money is made. Flip and I have been absolutely rolling. We've been, I was perfect pretty much Monday through Friday. I think I maybe missed one bet on Thursday, but other than that, Flip and I have been on absolutely fire, and I'm hoping to continue that into this week. As it's Gemini season, both Flip and I's birthdays are at the very beginning of June. His just passed. Mine's coming up this weekend, so it's Gemini season. The luck is on our side right now, so hopefully that continues into this week. And let's start it off right. The Colorado Avalanche and the Edmonton Oilers heading into Game 4. And like I just said, with Evander Kane out of the lineup, their leading goal scorer for the Edmonton Oilers, I think this series is over. I believe the Avalanche can complete the sweep. I've said this all season long and for I don't know how many years now, but Mike Smith is not the goalie you want going into the postseason. Yes, at this point, Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl can carry a team this far, but look what's happening when they face an absolutely juggernaut of a team, a real team, and a Stanley Cup Finals team. So Mike Smith is not going to get the job done, even if Mikko Koskinen gets put in the net. He's not going to get the job done. So I'm going with the old special flip triple dip here. My first pick of the night, I am taking the Avalanche on the puck line. They've won every single game by 2 goals or more so far. I think they continue that. I just don't think Mike Smith has it in his bag or in his arsenal to really, shift this series in any way or steal a game in any way. I just think at this point in his career, he's a little bit too old. He looks a little fidgety out there. He's not really comfortable, it seems like, in this series. So I'm taking the Avalanche on the puck line for my first pick. My second pick, I'm going back to the guy who I've gone to a lot in the regular season as well as so far in the postseason. And that's my guy, Nathan MacKinnon. He's an absolute star out there for the Colorado Avalanche. Him and Cale Makar are just absolutely, it's just amazing to watch them play the game. They're so fast. They're so shifty. They've got great hands. And I read a comment on Twitter, I believe, and Cale Makar is basically they're a forward. He's better than half their forwards. He's basically their 4th best forward at this point. So he's an absolute star. But back to Nathan MacKinnon, I'm taking the anytime assist from him. He's got great vision out there. I know he likes to shoot the puck a lot, but when you're shooting the puck a lot, there's bound to be some rebounds. And I think that's what's going to happen for Game 4. MacKinnon, anytime assist. But my lock of the night is the anytime assist from my guy on the blue line, Cale Makar. He just keeps firing it on all cylinders as well. Like his vision on the blue line, again, he puts the puck on net. Probably one of the best defensemen to do so with getting the shot through guys and on net, getting them deflection, looking for the deflections or the rebounds. But even then, he's got a heck of a shot. His wrister is absolutely phenomenal to see as well. So my lock of the night is the Cale Makar anytime assist. Hopefully, the big flip triple dip can hit for me starting this week off fresh, continuing to fire on all cylinders into this week. Lock it in, pencil it in, put your money where your mouth is. This is where you make all the money. This is where Flip and I have been absolutely tearing it up recently. And thank you so much for making the Locked On Fantasy Hockey Podcast your first listen every day. For your second listen, though, you have to check out Locked On NHL. From the first round matchups to each Stanley Cup kiss, Locked On NHL covers the playoffs like no other. Hear the latest news and opinions from local experts every Monday through Friday. It's free and available wherever you get your podcasts, just like this podcast right here. So again, if you haven't hit the subscribe or the follow button, please do so right now. Flip and I appreciate all the love and support out there. And once you do, you'll get the latest episodes of the Locked On Fantasy Hockey Podcast every single day, Monday through Friday, 7 o'clock in the morning Eastern time. Like we've said over the last month. There's a ton of content coming out this summer. We've still got 2 weeks left of the NHL playoffs, so you don't want to miss out on all the content. Thank you so much for tuning in for today's episode with Steele Rodin on the Locked On Fantasy Hockey Podcast. Have a great day. Good luck with all your bets out there, and we shall see you back here again tomorrow.